Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to do this in Adobe After Effects. Now if you are new to Adobe After Effects, then this is very much a beginner's tutorial and is perfect for you. Now to do this effect, you will of course need a subscription to Adobe After Effects, as well as the muzzle flashes and bullet shells, which we will import from a website called Production Crate. Links to both of those will be in the description below. In addition to that, you will need to do some acting and have a fake gun as a prop. Now I did use a green screen, although that's totally optional. You can film it at any location you like. I just filmed mine on my balcony and I wanted to change the background afterwards in post-production. Now if you have a fancy camera, well that's great, but if you just want to film this on your smartphone, that's going to be totally fine. I did that in fact, and I'm just using a tripod and a DJI Osmo gimbal. Again, link in the description. All right, let's open up Adobe After Effects and do this effect. Okay, so the first thing you will need to do is import your footage into After Effects. To do that, go up to File, go to Import, File, and then navigate to wherever you saved your footage. I just saved mine on my desktop. That's usually what I do while I'm working on a project, and then I move the files across to a hard drive later on. Click Open, and footage is here. Now, what you'll need to do is simply click and drag the footage onto this icon here. It's called a new composition. A new composition is essentially a new project that we're working on. Now, if the footage doesn't say fit here, you can change the magnification ratio by simply clicking this drop-down box and go to fit. And that gives us a nice little workspace to work with. Now down here, we've got our timeline. Now we're not going to use all of our footage. We're just going to scrub to where we think the video is going to start. So about here. And then what you can do is click B for begin, which is where the start of the video is going to be. And we scroll to the end where we're going to finish the video. About here, I think. And then you can click End for end. Then what you can do is click Command Shift X, and that will trim the comp to the work area. So we've got a nice work area to work with. Just the footage we're going to use right there. Now, if you'd rather work in frames as opposed to seconds, you can switch between the two by simply hovering your mouse over here, holding down Command and clicking, and it will switch between frames and seconds. For simplicity purposes, I'm going to do this project in seconds. Now, thankfully, this toy gun made a little noise when we clicked it. So we can actually see in our timeline where the clicks are, which is really going to be helpful when we put the muzzle flashes. That's going to be a good reference point for us. So to see where the click of the gun was, click the drop down arrow here, click audio, and as you can see here, this is where we clicked the gun. So that's where the bullets are going to be firing out from. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is import our muzzle flash into our composition. So you go to File, Import, File, and then you navigate to where you ever downloaded your muzzle flash from Production Crate. I put it in my desktop here, so I click on that, click Open, and it will import it into this section here. So then we simply click and drag down to our composition, and we want it to be above our main layer, because that way it will show on top of that layer, which is where we want it. Now, earlier I mentioned that the toy gun made a little sound when we pulled the trigger. So simply go down here and you can see that this is where the trigger was pulled. So that's a good reference point. That's where we know that the muzzle flash needs to go off at that section. So on our muzzle flash layer, simply click it and drag it along the timeline until it gets to about where that pulling of the trigger is. and you'll see it go off there. Now you might need to reposition it so that it's at the end of the gun. So to do that, simply click on the layer in your composition and drag it across to about where the end of the gun is. Now that looks a bit big, so what you can actually do is scale it down. So just ensure that layer is selected, and then click S for scale. You can scale it to your liking. That size is good. And then if you need to reposition it again, simply click on the layer and click and drag it across to about the end of the gun barrel there. Now we've clicked the gun, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So what we can do is we can actually duplicate this layer, and then we can just put it in 5 different sections along the timeline. So I'm going to go Command D to duplicate, and I'm going to do that 4 more times so that I've got 5 muzzle flashes in total. And then you just simply go to the one underneath it and click and drag it across until you get to your next trigger pull, which is here. And do the same again for this one. Just ensure it lines up with that spike where the trigger pull is. And again with that one. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one goes here. That one there. Sorry, ignore that. I've just gone off that. Okay. The other thing you can do is import a little video of a shell, like a fired bullet's come out of the gun. So we'll do that next. So I've imported a little video of that. So you import that into your After Effects, and then you simply click and drag the little MP4 video into the top of your timeline. And now it's here, and we want it to match up with our the firing of our gun. So you simply click and drag it along the timeline so that it matches up with the gun. Now this video is an MP4, so what you'll need to do is highlight the layer, go to Mode, click this little drop-down menu here and scroll down to Screen, and that will remove the that black background, and now we've just got our shell. And then what we can do is we can position this little video here to sort of make it look like it's coming out of the side of the gun. It's like our blank bullet, basically, is what it is. So you highlight the layer, then go to click and drag it up. Probably, I reckon it comes out of the gun about there. You can actually get the pen tool and draw a little hole if you wanted to, but for the sake of simplicity, and it's a beginner's tutorial, we'll just leave it at that today. What you can also do is scale it down a bit, so I might do that. Highlight the layer, click S for scale, scale it, and again you have to reposition it till about there. So and then we should have a little bullet firing off. And then of course you would need to duplicate that layer 5 times because we fired the gun 5 times, and then just position the little video in sync with the muzzle flash that we did earlier. Okay, so it should look something like that. So you've got the muzzle flash and the shell all in sync with each other. So the next thing we want to do is remove this green screen from the back of our layer. So to do that, go to your actual layer where your green screen is, select it, and ensure your timeline is at the start. And in this column here, there's an option to click a little dot there. So that little dot there, that means we're soloing this layer. So essentially everything we do is only going to affect this layer. Now, to remove the green screen, first we'll get our pen tool up here, click that, and you just want to draw a rough outline around your subject. Just a bit, so we want to keep the actor and any props they're holding. Just do a rough mask. Oh, it's not the rough mask around the green screen, like that. And then we want to key it out. So to do that, go to Effect, Keying, and Keylight 1.2 it's called. And on Keylight 1.2, screen color, see this here? You get the little dropper icon here, click on that, and then go to a section on the green screen, one that's pretty well lit, and that will essentially crop it out. So now that we have removed our background, we can now replace that with another photo or video. So let's go ahead and do that. I've found a photo online, which I'm going to put in. So what you do is import your photo. I've just saved mine to my desktop. I found this one online, which I think is pretty good. Import that, and once you've imported it into After Effects, you need to click and drag it into your timeline, and we want it to be below all the other layers. So so put it right down the bottom, and that's it. There's your layer right there. You can, if you like, adjust the light so that it matches the photo as well, but we'll do that in another video. That's for another day. So the last thing to do now is to render the video so we can view it in MP4 format. So what I'm going to do is go to Composition, Pre-Render, and down here click Render and let it do its thing. And when you finish rendering in Adobe After Effects, it renders it as a .mov file. We actually want it as an MP4 file. So what you can do is open up Adobe Media Encoder, which is another program that comes with the Adobe suite, and convert it to an MP4 file. So open Adobe Media Encoder, click File, click Add Source, navigate to where you rendered out your file in After Effects. For me, that was in Desktop. Click on it, click Open, and once it's up here in this section, it's ready. Just click the little play icon right here, and it will convert it to an MP4 file. That's it. That's all there is to it. Hasta la vista, baby. So that's it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching. If you did get some value out of it, I would really appreciate a subscribe and maybe a like as well. So until next time, later creators.